I'll begin to ask you some questions now that come from the audience, and if others of you have questions, pass them to the aisles and we'll pick them up and ask as many as we can. Following up on what you just said, the observation is made that in Tunisia and Egypt, we have seen that the people, and not necessarily the leaders, are making decisions. In Gaza, Hamas was the elected government, and that was the people's decision. Why are we not recognizing that government and working more closely with them?
Well, the sad truth is that indeed Hamas was the party that received the most votes in the elections early 2006. Almost half the votes. But it didn't change the fact that Hamas remained a terrorist organization. And I'm not using the word lightly. I mean terrorists because they promote violence in order against civilians, in order to forward their political goals. And many of our friends, looking at the Irish model, they say, okay, now probably they're going to moderate as a consequence of feeling the burden of government. And they were pressured to do so, not only by us, but not even by the international quartet that the UN, Russia, the European Union, and America that are engaged in helping the process, but by the other Arab states that feel dearly for the Palestinian cause. And they begged actually, Hamas to change their basic refusal to accept the negotiating process, or to recognize the agreements that Israel had already signed with the Palestinians. They refused to recognize us. And actually, they continue to support terror as their weapon. So it's not Israel that refused to recognize them. It's the international community through the quartet that impose some basic conditions. Recognize the previous agreements, recognize the state of Israel, and give up violence. And despite all these pressures, and despite the price they knew that the Palestinian people, the Gazans were going to pay for that, they refused to do that. Not only that, but they began to bombard Israel's cities and towns around, at range. So it's not that Israel refuses to recognize them. It's the kind of regime that cannot be recognized, and we will gladly recognize a Palestinian government that will accept the continuity of government, in the sense that we recognize the agreements between us, and will abandon the use of terror as a political weapon.
Okay.